I glanced at my wife's photo one last time before dying, but suddenly I worried she'd be terrified seeing me hanging from the ceiling. I quickly grabbed the photo and placed it on the windowsill, facing the sunlight. 59. Ove had finally made up his mind to end his life. Staring at the rope above, he thought soon he'd be with Sonia again. But death seemed to have other plans. Just as he felt the rush of resolve, his new neighbors violated the neighborhood rules and drove their car right in. But then he thought, why bicker with the living when he was about to die anyway? Ove snapped, chased the clumsy neighbors out, and pulled into the spot with a perfect one-shot reverse. He cursed under his breath. Who'd want to live next to such idiots? Back home, silence returned. Ove planned to get back to it, but first he'd done a good deed, and it made him feel on top of the world. He stepped onto the chair, everything ready. But suddenly, the neighbor's two kids started climbing the window. Fearing he'd scare them, he thought, one more day wouldn't hurt. The next morning, Ove went to the cemetery as usual. He apologized to Sonia for not keeping his promise to visit her yesterday, grumbling about the dumb new neighbors. Without Sonia, everything felt like a mess. Every day, Ove brought her a bouquet of flowers and said, I miss you, over and over, never tiring of the words. Back home, Ove put on a sharp suit and slipped his neck into the noose, only to be greeted by non-stop doorbells. Fuming, Ove swung the door open, ready to yell, but found the new neighbor's kids standing there. He held back his anger. As a thank you, the dumb neighbors handed him freshly cooked food. They also asked to borrow a ladder. Since he'd have no use for it anyway, the stubborn Ove did the unthinkable. He gave it to them outright. Just then, an elderly lady asked him to fix her heating and started telling the neighbors about Sonia, a forbidden topic for Ove. He blew up on the spot. Storming back inside, Ove was furious. But when he saw his wife's photo, he couldn't help but grin. This time, nothing would stop him. For Ove, death was as beautiful as keeping a date with Sonia. He kicked the chair away. Finally, he'd succeeded. Like people say, life flashed before his eyes. In a daze, Ove was a kid again. His mom had died when he was little, leaving him to grow up with his dad, who rarely smiled at him. Until one day, Ove was almost hit by a train. His dad raced over and held him tight for ages. Even with oil and sweat soaking his work clothes, Ove clung to his dad till nightfall. Quiet as he was, his dad taught him countless lessons, like standing up to injustice. Once, Ove found a wallet while cleaning trains, stuffed with over 600 kronor. But a coworker of his dad's snatched it right away. Little Ove didn't back down. He turned around and grabbed it back. He didn't know if he was making the right choice then. He just followed his gut, even if it meant facing pain. As he closed his eyes, bracing for a beating, his silent hero, his dad, stepped in. Ove didn't let him down. He took the wallet to the lost and found. His dad told him, honesty is the most precious virtue, but sometimes, standing by your principles needs a little help. Few as his words were, they taught Ove lessons that lasted a lifetime. Time flew and Ove grew up. He showed his dad his acceptance letter. For the first time, he saw his dad look truly relieved. But life is full of cruel twists. His dad was so proud, he bragged to everyone, until a speeding train turned that joy into tragedy. Ove took over his dad's job and stayed for 43 years. But without his dad's protection, his co-workers started picking on him, even eyeing his dad's watch. At first, Ove wanted to run, but then he remembered his dad's lesson: fight unfairness. There comes a moment in life when you have to decide who you want to be. After his dad died, people kept coming to buy his house for next to nothing. This house held all his childhood memories. Ove refused. But that night, his neighbor's house caught fire. Everyone stood around watching, except Ove. He rushed in without hesitation. After rescuing an elderly person and a child, he came back to find his own house had been robbed. They'd stopped at nothing to get what they wanted. Everyone was in on it, leaving Ove feeling powerless. From that day on, he hated white shirts, the symbol of power. But just then, the rope snapped. He'd survived again. Lousy cheap junk.